Welcome, everyone. I'm Robin Smith, a trauma and relationship coach, and I'm the founder of the Rock Your Relationships Sisterhood in Facebook. And maybe you're finding me on my YouTube channel, Rock Your Relationship with Robin Smith. So wherever you're finding me, say hello, put a yes in the comment for why you're here. Let me know what you're hoping for today. And let's dive in. This is a relationship Q&A. So again, I've made a post in my Facebook group and I've asked for your biggest relationship questions this week. And I got several questions. So we're going to walk right through them and I'll give you my best answers off the cuff here. First question is this: why do I need validation or acceptance in order to feel great about fulfilling the rest of my life? So great question. And I absolutely know you are not alone in this. A lot of women and people in general do feel that they are looking for validation and acceptance from outside themselves. And first, just to say, I think we all do crave acceptance. And I think it's a key element in feeling like we belong. So there's nothing wrong with needing acceptance or wanting acceptance, at least from some people. If you require it, though, that's different. If you require certain people to accept you in order to fulfill your life, that's different. So let's talk about that. So I can't tell you, of course, exactly what the reason is for you, but in general, here's my thoughts on this, which is that this is a self-worth issue. So if you're looking for your validation and acceptance from outside yourself, it may be because you don't have enough of that from inside yourself. So why might that be happening? Why might you not be validating, valuing yourself or accepting yourself? There's lots of reasons, but a real cause of that could be because something happened in early life where you didn't feel enough. You didn't feel like you mattered. So when stuff happens in early life, in childhood, or even infancy, even if the stuff has nothing to do with you, like your parents are arguing or somebody's hurt or somebody's sick or in prison or away for a long time and there's strife in the household, an infant and a young child will make it about themselves and decide it's my fault, I must have done something wrong, or there is something wrong with me. So it's a kind of self-shaming. And then you feel like there's something wrong with you and you live your life as if there's something wrong with you, and you then continue to look for this validation of that or evidence of that in your life. So if someone doesn't talk nicely to you, then you think, see, it's because there's something wrong with me. And so we keep verifying that over our lives. And then we may also find relationships later in life that keep that pattern going, keep us feeling like we're not acceptable, we're not lovable, we're not likable, because that's the lenses that we've had on our whole lives. So when you shift that, when you learn to value yourself, to validate yourself, then you don't need that validation from others. Then you can pursue your passions and your dreams without really caring if other people approve or not, because it's what fulfills your heart and your longings. So that is so important, that you really know yourself enough and value yourself enough to be able to support yourself doing what you love. I don't mean financially, but like honor and approve of your own self and your own passions without requiring that from others, because that's always going to feel, exhausting to expect and require others to take care of you or support you emotionally or just with your own passions and pursuits. So of course we want those who we're close to approve and accept, but we don't want to feel like it's required. And we all deserve that. We all deserve this kind of full-on love and acceptance from others. And like I said before, it helps us feel like we belong. So if you find that you can't get that, like if you're in a different position, say you do love and accept yourself, but the people around you don't, then it's time to really find the people who can love and accept you, because not everybody can. Of course, not everyone can like everybody, but there are people who will fully love and accept you. And if you're not finding them now, I encourage you to find relationships that really do feel supported in this way. Here's another question from the same person. Why do I love way deeper and more than the one's love that I crave in return? It hurts me every time. First, I want to say that, ouch, like that sounds really painful, and I'm sorry that's happening. And it's a great question to be, inquiring into. Why is this happening? This keeps happening. So you may have, well, I think we all have a deep hunger for love and attention, and you may have what feels like a deeper hunger because, again, if you're not loving and accepting and giving yourself enough loving attention, then you might be always looking for that from others. So the more you can give that to yourself, the less you will require it or feel like you need it from others. And then it will feel like it's easier to feel satisfied with others' love, because you're already going to have a base, a foundation of love for yourself and a feeling like I'm enough, I'm worthy, I'm okay as I am. And so you will draw those people to you who also feel that way. Okay. And the more you have that within yourself, you won't settle for less than enough from others. So that's my 2 cents on that. And it's not so easy. Like, I can't just say, go start loving yourself, and you just start loving yourself. It's a process. So for a lot of these are some deep questions I've got today. And I want to just say this probably a few times in the response, is that it takes time to work through these old patterns. If you felt like there's something wrong with you your whole life, I can't just say, hey, stop feeling that way, and magically, you do. It doesn't work that way. So it takes some fine attention, usually some support from somebody outside yourself who can hold you. Talk about that as I answer another question in a minute. And it's a process of slowly peeling and winding the layers that have gotten you into this place in the first place. So please be patient with yourself as you unwind the old patterns and create new and healthy ones. Let's look at the next question. Can you talk about power? Like, how does one give away their power, and how do we learn to take it back? So there's probably a lot of ways you can give away your power, but let's talk about some that come to my mind. It can look like letting others walk all over you, basically not having healthy boundaries, letting people take advantage of you. Sometimes if you're a nice person and you always say yes, you're going to find people who are always asking for things. And then you just, because you always say yes, and you just give, and then people just take. So that's one way to kind of give away your power, because you're not, probably what ends up happening in that type of dynamic, I hear about it all the time, is you end up feeling taken advantage of, you end up feeling angry and resentful because you're not getting reciprocation. So it is a kind of giving away too much, giving away what you want. So part of giving away your power can be giving away or not claiming your desires, your needs, and those are key. Like, what do I want? What do I need? What's important to me? When you don't let people know that, they can't meet you there. They can't honor that. And sometimes you don't even know what that is. So part of taking your power back, as you say, the question is getting to know yourself, really tuning into what are my needs and desires and longings, and learning how to listen to that and how to honor that. And that goes on every level of who you are. I'm going to keep going with some of these examples. Letting others hurt you without defending yourself might be another way you give your power away. So again, I said not having strong enough boundaries. Those were some examples of that. Not speaking up for yourself. So when somebody says something hurtful or takes advantage of you, if you just let it slip under the rug and you just let it wash over. In some cases that might be appropriate if it's not somebody you have a strong relationship with and you don't want to create a conflict, or somebody you're never going to see again, it might be one thing. But if it's a long-term relationship that you're wanting to foster, then you don't want to let that kind of thing happen without you letting your needs be known, your feelings be known. Other ways that you might feel powerless is feeling like you can't do something, or you have to do other things. I was just talking with a client about something like this recently, where there might be an old belief system in place, like I'm supposed to be kind and generous and cute, or whatever these old beliefs you have about how you're supposed to be. I'm supposed to follow all of these rules, and if I don't, then I'm a bad person. You might have yourself stuck in an old belief system that no longer suits you. And if you do that, then it's a certain way of giving away your power, of not being empowered, because you just let yourself keep feeling like, something's not right, like you're not getting what you want, like life isn't aligning for you, because you're trying to live by these old standards that don't actually serve you anymore. So that's something really important to look at. Okay, so how do you take it back is the second part of the question. So how you take it back is, as I was saying earlier, first you have to own that you are a powerful being and that you are worth having what you want and need, and worth standing up for yourself, having boundaries. So you have to feel your power and claim your power and own your worth. Then you have to speak up for it and act for it in whatever ways are appropriate for each situation. Like not putting up with bad treatment, like saying, hey, I matter too. I want to have my input. My voice is important, things like that. So again, I'm giving you quick answers, but these may not be quick solutions. They may take a while, because we are complex human beings. We've got a lot of things that happen to us over our lives, a lot of buildup of stories about who we are in the world and what we believe is right and wrong and who we're supposed to be, and all this stuff wrapped up in our identity. And it can take some time to peel away those layers to get to what feels like your truth and who you are now. So again, patience is a virtue and something to cultivate for your own healing process in getting to these more empowered places of standing in your value, owning your voice and your desires and things like that. And it's why, some of I have a year-long group where I work with women. I call it the Rock Your Relationship Immersion Program. And we address issues like self-worth and owning your needs and having a voice and healthy communication and healthy boundaries and shame and guilt and things like this. And it takes at least a year. I really realized that I couldn't do it in 3 months or 6 months with them, because all this stuff builds on each other, and we need to just let ourselves steep in the information and the experiences and the safety of the group and things like this in order for things to start unraveling and us to start feeling like the people we want to be in the world. So I've got another question from that person, which is, how do we work on not letting someone have power over our emotions? That is very closely related to that last question. So I would say it's pretty much the same answer. Is you need to own your emotions, and that means you have to know what your emotions are. I actually spent a whole month on the emotions of my group that I was just telling you about, where you need to really sort through, like, what's anger feel like, and how do I relate to anger and sadness, and fear, and all these basic emotions. So the more you own your emotions and you befriend them, you're not afraid of them, you're okay having them, then you're going to be more able to not let someone have power over your emotions. And part of that is saying, this is how I feel, and that's not how I feel. Sometimes somebody else tells you how you feel. me too, in the comment, if somebody likes to tell you how you feel, that's not okay. They can't know how you feel. They can guess, but that's someone trying to have power over you and over your emotions. So part of you taking your power back in that case is saying, actually, you know, how I feel is XYZ. So you have to get to know yourself, physical and emotional experience to be able to own your power over your own emotions. Okay, next question. Why do I love so hard and I'm not getting love in return? This is actually very much like one of the first questions I already answered. So I'm going to say it's the same answer. But what I don't know if I said before is that, again, this, well, I said it in some way, but again, this can stem from early childhood trauma. So you have this why do I do this, right? Why do I love so hard? You may not have gotten enough love. You may not have gotten enough attention. You may have gotten deprived of care and nurturing. So if that's the case, you may be longing for that. You may be seeking that. You may be seeking that kind of a validation or proof from others that they care and love you, because you've always longed for more of that because your needs never got satisfied. So that's sort of part two to that answer to that question. And when that happens, or if you've had an experience early in life where you got a lot of attention and then you got no attention, and it's kind of back and forth, kind of a lot and none, and a little over here, but not enough over there. You may feel like love and attention is not reliable for you, and it's confusing, and you don't really know if you get it now, if you're going to get it later, because it was always coming and going. So that could be a reason why you might be more clinging to people. Like, I need you because I don't know if I'm ever going to see you again. And I don't know if I don't trust that if you don't text me, you're still there. Like, I need to see you and feel you there. And I need you to text me right away every time, because if you don't, I feel like you're gone. So that can relate to that, like I said, this early childhood experience of people not being present enough with you consistently. And so you don't trust that they're going to be there. So that might speak to, hope that answers your question. Here's one more question. Why do I fear and avoid relationships, or perhaps I deflect relationships? Yeah, again, these are all such deep questions. I love the inquiry that you all are making, and keep them coming. Like, you can put more questions under this video and I'll respond to them again in the future. So here's my response. Of course, I can't tell you the exact reason why you're doing that, why you fear and avoid relationships. But again, a general response is that, again, I always point to early stuff that happened, but some of this stuff could happen later in life. If you get hurt or a betrayal later in life, you could feel not trusting of relationships. But a lot of that stuff that happens the earliest in life, especially within the first 3 to 5 years, that makes the biggest impact, because that's when our nervous system is growing. We're making these neural connections. We're forming our identity and our sense, our sense of self, basically. And so when we don't get certain needs met for nurturing and attention in those earliest years, that's when especially we start to lay down those tracks like, attention isn't there for me, or I can't have needs because if I do, it hurts so bad because nobody comes to fulfill them. So of course, an infant can't think in this way, but they can respond in this way internally. So if you were neglected, if you didn't get enough love and care, if you if your parents never didn't attend to you properly, like they let you cry and escalate and have huge tantrums and they didn't know how to soothe you, then you might have this experience like, people aren't really there for me. They don't attend to me. They don't know how to hold me. And that could have been set up super early in life, but it may still be happening because that was your earliest experience. And so if you had an early experience like that, then you would be likely to withhold and withdraw because it doesn't feel safe to be vulnerable. If you think of an infant, they're incredibly vulnerable. They can't do anything for themselves. They're 100% dependable on other humans taking care of them. If those humans didn't do it or didn't do it right well enough, then you're going to feel like it's not safe to be vulnerable. So you might still feel that way because you never got that repair. You never had a safe enough relationship where you really felt held. So my guidance would be to cultivate safety in relationships. Why? Because you have to feel safe in order to allow yourself to be vulnerable, in order to feel like relationships are safe for you. You're going to avoid them, like you said you do, if they're not safe. So how do you cultivate safety with people? Well, again, it takes time. You first have to find people like a friend or a therapist or coach, somebody who you can feel is likely going to be safe. And then, of course, you're not going to just trust them right away. You have to build trust over time. So you keep coming back and you test the waters, and little by little, you feel more safe. And then you feel more trusting that they know how to hold you and hold your tender heart. And over time, as you trust more and more, then you let go more of that protection that you have around you. So, but it takes as long as it takes. It can take a year or 2 years, 5 years to allow yourself to release enough into trusting others to hold your heart. So you have to be patient for this type of process, because we are living organisms, and we've had lots of wounds, some of us more than others, and wounds take time to heal. And especially this one is like usually a really old wound from infancy or even before birth. And so we just have to be patient with this process of developing safety and trust, and that can help you feel like relationships are okay. And little by little, maybe you have one friend or two friends, and then maybe you grow to have 4 or 5 friends, because you're starting to trust that there are certain people who are safe and who you can relax with. You can let them into your heart. So I think I've answered all your questions. If you have any more, please put them down below, or any comments about anything I've said. I'd love to hear from you. If you haven't yet received my ultimate communication checklist, it's an awesome little checklist, super quick 2-minute read, where you'll get 10 communication basically tips, and you can check off whether your communication habits or strategies, and you can check off whether you're implementing this. And if you're not, there's a free communication training coming up, so then you can join the training and you'll get a lot more skills with me and a group of amazing women who are ready to have empowered and healthy and loving relationships. So if you haven't gotten the checklist, get that, and I'll be putting a link in soon for the free communication training. It's called the Rock Your Relationship Communication Training. So make sure to look out for that, and I hope to see you there. Keep asking your questions and letting me know what responses you're having. And if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe so you don't miss the next video. Please tell a friend and join the Facebook group if you're watching there. Please feel free to share this video, and I hope to see you soon. Bye for now.